Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders. But thou shalt call thy walls salvation, and thy gates praise. The sun shall be no more thy light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee. But the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light, and thy God thy glory. Thy sun shall no more go down, neither shall thy moon withdraw itself. For the Lord shall be thine everlasting light, and the days of thy mourning shall be ended. Thy people also shall be all righteous. They shall inherit the land forever, the branch of my planting, the work of my hands. A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in his time.
The ocean spirit dances today to abundance and joy and to eternal peace.
Jake about to live, man. Jake about to truly live forever. And how we gonna tap in? Through this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, which is gonna lead us into eternal life. This wisdom is gonna bring us into the kingdom of heaven, which starts with the elect. And Lord's will, we are those men. This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6, and verse 17. And it reads, "For the very true beginning of her, and her represents wisdom. For the very true beginning of her is the desire of discipline, and the care of discipline is love. And love is the keeping of her laws, and the giving heed unto her laws is the assurance of incorruption. Therefore the desire of wisdom bringeth to a kingdom." So this wisdom is going to bring us into the kingdom of heaven, because it starts with the Lord's men. "If your delight be then in thrones and scepters, O you kings of the people, honor wisdom, that you may reign forevermore." You see?
To the glory of our golden age, may it shine forever.
So we're going to reign forever. Lord's willing, we are part of the elect.
Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of saints. And he saith unto me, Right, blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he saith unto me, These are the true sayings of God.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful that got there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Rakakwadash, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right, and what I want to get into with this lesson is dealing with Eve was set up for failure. You know, Eve was set up to fail. You know, Esau, Edom. Okay, when you look at, you know, the current rulership of the planet Earth, all right, and you look at, you know, how at the end of this thing, the devil, is in straits. There's beginning to be a lot of things that's working against him, okay, as he's trying to pull off, this new world order, which for him, this has been a long time coming. These devils have been plotting for centuries about a global rulership. It started off as, just an idea going back to the Enlightenment age, okay, and then it morphed into a technocracy going back into the 1930s, okay, and then with the advancement of technology, you see, the devil looked at this thing as doable, okay, but the whole time, the devil has been ruling the earth in wickedness, as he's been setting snares, for the world, all right, as he's been enchanting, the masses, and he has so many wicked agendas that certain things are starting to backfire against this devil, okay, and ultimately the Lord, all right, had to set up for the devil to reach his peak, okay, only to fall, only to get close to his agenda, only to fail. You see, and that's the beautiful thing. That's one of the things the scriptures speak about, the good news, the gospel. Well, that's a part of the good news is that Esau fails. Okay? Because what this man is trying to do, all right, is absolutely wicked, destructive. Okay? It's perverse. It's completely against righteousness, man. But our good news is that this devil fails, man. Now, this Psalm 73, is a heavy psalm, Psalm of Asaph, one of the Levite priests, that was in the choir of King David, so this is a song, being sung by, our forefathers, in the spirit, all right, and there's prophecy in this, man. You see? So when you go to Psalm 73:1, it says, truly, the Most High is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart. Okay? And as the Lord has raised up prophets in these last days, to push repentance, to the nation of Israel, where there's a remnant that's coming back and being cleansed by this word. It's just such as are of a clean heart. Well, how does a young man cleanse his way? You see? Let's get that real quick. And then we'll get into it. Because as the remnant is hearing this word, and they believe and begin to apply this word, well, that's cleansing our minds, cleansing our spirits. Okay, and we're being cleansed, all right, to be changed. At the time of Yahushua. You see, so his word is purifying a remnant in the last days through obedience, man. All through faith. So let's get this real quick. Psalms 119 and 9. Okay, it said, wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed thereto according to thy word. You see? So through faith and obedience, that the Lord, has put the spirit on the elect to have faith and obedience in these last days. You see? And began to apply this word, to live by this word. You see? So Yahushua, his sacrifice, okay, and then blood of their sacrifice, okay, is cleansing, the elect. You see? It gave us the sacrifice we needed to have the opportunity to be cleansed by this word. It's making us susceptible to our power through that sacrifice, man. Yahushua did what he did, on his end, is that sacrifice. And what we do is repentance, okay, and obedience. So going back to Psalm 73, okay, let's go here, Psalms 73:2. It said, but as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped, for I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. And as we come into this truth, we find out, even before, especially if you, was into like the Illuminati, and, you know, who really run the world and use into those things before the truth, is like, damn, you know, this is crazy, man. You know, I always remember, you know, before the truth, um, going into you know, the Illuminati, you know, who run the music industry, and, you know, these certain families, you know, and it's before the truth, man, and it creates a feeling of like, damn, you be overwhelmed, and then you be like helpless, like who gonna stop these niggas, man? Like, damn, you know, because Christianity doesn't give you the answers for the reality, the real life reality of His world, okay, the real life, all right, situations of the world. Christianity doesn't give you a solution, you know. But then when you get into the scriptures, which you're going to get to on down, you know. But when you look at these devils, man, you know, and see how much influence they got, and see how far the corruption goes, and see how much wealth and how they, you know, control this and control that, man, it's like, damn, you know, it could be overwhelming. Okay, when you see the prosperity of the wicked, then it's like, damn, they're wicked, man, they're winning. You see. So Asaph is in the spirit, and he's like, these niggas is winning, man, in wickedness. You see? It says, for there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Okay? And when you go into these devils, man, this network of wealth that they have, man, you know, true generational wealth, you know, they're able to just put each other on. Okay? They live in a different reality than most people. You see? Especially, you know, you got the elites, you know, the super rich, you know, these upper class Edomites, man. They got these certain networks. And you know, even now, you know, you go into certain, you know, places, okay? And these devils, you know, they in their own world. They're not bothered by the outside world like that. Okay? Now you got, you know, these devils are suffering, you know, these what you call these wage, all right, these salary based Edomites. Okay, they catch a hell, you know, because we're in the man, you know, this nation of people, you know, collectively, especially, you know, the top half, you know, they've been able to exist in a whole nother reality in the earth, man. You know, with their network of wealth and connections, and you see. So it said they're not as troubled as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Therefore, pride compasses them about as a chain, violence covered them as a garment. Okay? And these devils, you know, and this beginning with the elites, man. You know, the pride of these elites, man, you can only imagine. You see, their pride compassing them about as a chain, man. They're just covered with pride. The fact that they feel that they can pull off this new world order, man, shows you where their pride is at. The fact that they're even willing to try to do this, man. Okay? Show you how full of themselves they are, man. They said violence covers them as a garment, okay? Because these devils, you know, a lot of their wealth comes through violence, man. You see? You know, a lot of their power and authority that they have comes through violence. You know? And they're able to just come in and demonize, you know, they find the land is rich in resources. Okay? They demonize the leadership, come in with the military, you know, as if they're a hero, and they just come in and scrapulate the wealth from the world, man. You know? This is how these devils, this is the system that these devils rule the earth with, man. You know, steal, kill, and destroy. All right? That's why even Yahushua, he summed up Esau. Okay? You go to St. John chapter 10, verse 10. This is Yahushua summing up Esau, man. Okay? St. John 10 and 10 said, the thief coming not but for to steal and to kill and destroy. I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. Okay? So when you go into the thief, it's Esau, man. But for to steal, kill, and destroy. You know? And that's this devil method of ruling the earth, man. You see? He's all about death to increase, his power and wealth. He doesn't mind, death when it comes to his agenda. You see? He doesn't mind stealing. He doesn't mind impoverishing the masses while the few percent get more wealthy, man. You see? But Yahweh Shai is coming to give abundance to his people, and the earth itself is going to flourish and be more abundant, and after 1,000 years, the heathens will enjoy a righteous rulership, man, excluding Esau, who's going to be excluded. The nigga who benefits the most are wicked. Our wickedness is going to be excluded from enjoying a righteous kingdom, man. He's going to be done away with. He's going to be cut out. Okay? The scripture said the physician is going to cut off a long disease, man. He saw that long disease, man. Okay? The method of the way that this man rules the world, okay, goes back to that blessing of the sword given to him by Isaac. Okay? By thy sword shalt thou live. Okay? So this is back in Psalm 73 and 7, it said their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than heart could wish. And you look at the wealth of these certain families, man, and it's just ridiculous, man. Especially when you compare it to the poverty, okay, of the planet Earth. And then you have the wealth of a few men. You have men, okay, that have more wealth than certain countries have, man. You see, that's crazy, man. Certain men have more wealth. Certainly these Edomites, man, have more wealth than certain countries. Okay, and they're constantly and they're constantly rigging the system more and more. Okay, to impoverish the masses and enrich themselves, man. Even with this whole digital thing, like a major part of this digital the digital money, okay, is to make sure people don't own anything, man. Everything gonna be tokenized. You're just gonna have, all right, permission slip. That your digital tokens is pretty much gonna be permission for access to his world. So the little that people do got, he wants to strip that away. Okay, and heap it to himself, man. The script say he can never have enough. The wealth gap is already crazy, man, but he wants to, all right, he wants to increase that, man. With digital currency. So you really don't have, you don't even have paper anymore. You don't even have that. You won't even have the ability to have cash put up, cash around the house or safe. No, you get a digital coin and pretty much nothing. Okay, because he took, true wealth as being, from people having resources, land, silver, gold, livestock. You see, owning houses. He's to now. To now, all right, he gave paper money. Okay, which is not true wealth. And then he's going to devalue some more and go to digital money. Which is just nothing. You see? And it said, verse 8 said, they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. Yeah, man, these devils, here it is. You look at the history of these devils, the atrocities done by these devils, and they speak loftily concerning oppression, man. They have holidays for, these particular men, which we was taught about these men as heroes, and come to find out, man, these men were straight demons, man. You got Columbus Day. Okay, Christopher Columbus, man. Thanksgiving. You see? You got President's Day. Look at the people that's on the money, man. Andrew Jackson, on, but all these devils that's on the money, all of them were wicked, man. Benjamin Franklin, okay, George Washington, all these devils were wicked, man. But they're still speaking lawfully concerning oppression. Okay, all these counties and cities named Jackson, okay, Columbus, you got, I know that you got Jackson, Mississippi, Columbus, Mississippi, Jefferson Davis County, these, Robert E. Lee, Lee County, you got DeSoto County, all right, after the goddamn conquistadors, okay. So these devils, they speak lofty, they boast about their wickedness, man. You see, these Edomites that were complete demons, you see, are honored in this man's society. Okay, and then you have like these devils now, Matt Walsh, devils like him that say that these Edomites colonizing the earth, okay, through great, murder, robbery, was best for everybody, because nobody was doing nothing with the land, with the earth, until they came on the scene. You see, so they say what they did, okay, it might have been bad, but it was for the best for everybody. That's a doctrine that they're pushing, in these last days, with this white Christian nationalism. Okay, as if the Edomite, all right, man did the world a favor by what he did. It wasn't pretty, but what they did the world a favor, man. Because look how far we've gone. Like, he's the only one. Like, and then he says that, like, no other people created or invented nothing, or no people had thriving civilization before he came. Okay, and he makes it seem like every invention and every idea and every innovation comes from Edomite males. That's a doctrine that they're pushing in these last days, man. You see, it says they set their mouth against the heavens and their tongue walketh through the earth. Yeah, their influence, their laws. And so he said his mouth against the heaven. Yeah, he's blaspheming against the heavens, man. He painted himself as the image of the Most High, as the Messiah, as the prophets. Okay, so they set their mouth against the heavens, man. You see, this devil has boasted himself against the heavens as if he can be the Most High, and their tongue, their influence, walking throughout the earth. Going back to especially that the golden cup of Babylon. First, it said they set their mouths against the heavens. You see, and you go into Ezekiel. All right. You go to Ezekiel 35. So they set their mouths against the heavens. When you go here, this is Ezekiel 35:12, and this is addressing Esau. Okay, just to give him context to it. Ezekiel 35:1-2, it says, Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it. And the Lord gets at Esau all throughout the scriptures, man. And Mount Seir, all right, was a dwelling place of Esau in the land of Edom. Okay, just like Mount Zion, represents us, the tribes. Okay, Mount Seir speaking to the people of Esau. Okay, so this is the Lord having Ezekiel prophesy against Esau, man. Okay, Esau downfall It's all throughout the scriptures, man. Okay, and we in that time. Ezekiel 35:12, it says, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord, and that I have heard all thy blasphemies. Okay, I have heard all thy blasphemy which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying, they are laid desolate, they are given us to consume. Because these devils, even another thing with this New World Order, he wants to have Israel in captivity forever. You know, this devil's mindset is that he's going to have Israel in captivity forever, a possession forever. You know, he's going to have the Lord's people, the Lord's, all right, inheritance, which is Israel. He's going to have that to himself forever, man. How proud, all right, do you have to be to think that? Just like Pharaoh. You know, was it Pharaoh? He was hardened, you know, not to let Israel go. Why? Because the Lord wanted to show power. Okay, so even that mindset of him thinking that he's going to have Israel as a possession forever, well, it's a mindset that's setting them up for failure. Okay, that's why the scripture refers to Esau as a new Pharaoh, Romans 9. Okay, Joel, the 3rd chapter, it links Edom to Egypt. Okay, because he's been set up the same way. So the Most High is going to go all out on a whole nother level, you know, until where the first Exodus is not even going to be mentioned. What the Lord going to do this time with this Exodus, okay, from this new Egypt, America, okay, that's going to be a new high holy day in the kingdom. Verse 13 said, thus with your mouth ye have boasted against me, and have multiplied your words against me. I have heard them. Okay, and these devils are getting more and more bold with what they say in the open, because they've been, you know, because you go back to the age of enlightenment, it was all about challenging the Bible, challenging the scriptures, debunking the scriptures, and putting, you know, the man as God, you know, the mindset of man can transcend, okay, into Godhood, you know, without the Most High. All right, now that you have this AI, okay, these devils think that they have, you know, the tools now to actually be the Most High. Okay, and they boast about this technology as if they have a one-up on the Most High, and they're constantly just multiplying their words against the Most High. You see, and it says, well, his tongue walking throughout the earth. That's his influence, man. You know, he has influenced the world through what? Through Babylon. You see, his ideologies, his doctrines, his philosophies, you know, his policies, his religion. Okay, these things dominate the earth. American culture dominates the earth, man. Okay, which is the culture of the beast. You see, they do as thou wilt spirit. You know, the anti-Messiah spirit. Well, this devil's influence, all right, has put the world in rebellion, and that's why it's going to be a global judgment. This is Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon have been the golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken over wine, therefore the nations are mad. Okay, and it's the policies, it's the doctrines of Esau that dominate the world. You know, in every culture, you know, some more than others, but there's an American influence. You know, no other culture influences America. America influences every other culture. Okay? Just as you had Hellenization during the Greeks, well, you got Americanization during this time, man. Or nations, you know, become Americanized. Okay? When you go back to Psalms 73, and especially, you know, with the age of the internet, you know, he's really been able to export, you know, American culture throughout the world. to where you have, parents, you can have, just like in Iran, you can have parents that are extremely traditional, okay? And then in the same house, you can have their children, okay, because of access to the internet, access to media, okay? They take on Western ideology, man. I think even in Iran 2024, they they took away the law about it being mandatory for women to wear hijabs. Okay, because why? Women wanted to be seen. Women wanted to, post pictures and take selfies and get likes and have a following. These younger Iranian women, you see, and it's just an example of how this man tongue walking throughout the earth, man. You see, because that serpent, he whispered through that internet. Okay, you should not surely die. That's the theme of the internet, social media. Okay, so we read back in Psalm 73:9 said they set their mouth against the heavens and their tongue walking through the earth. Therefore, his people return hither, and waters of full cup are wrung out to them. These Edomites, they're born back into what? Abundance. They have abundance. Their cups are wrung out to them. Okay, so these devils, as scripture say, when they don't die in bands, they don't die. You see, and it's speaking about these elites for the most part. Okay, but because like I said, the wealth is being, vacuumed up to the top. You see, there was a time, when you did, like I said, you had more common wealth amongst Esau, with this most of them being vacuumed up to the top. Okay, in preparation for this new world order. But for the longest, man, these devils, they return back to money, return back to abundance. When they will come back, be born again, through reincarnation, man. You see, verse 11 says, and they say, how doth the Most High know, and is there knowledge in the Most High? You see, and this is the people that question the Most High like no other nation. And these Edomites, push, the spirit of atheism. Okay, they push the spirit of self-worship. Okay, and they push the spirit as if man can reach the godhood without the Most High. And they do all this wickedness as if the Most High is not going to intervene. You look at the way Esau runs the earth and all his agendas and plans as if the Most High is not going to intervene. Esau destroys the earth if the Most High is not going to intervene. Esau plans, to put technology in everyone and everything to try to rewrite, what it means to be a human. Okay? To try to tap into, people's DNA and, print food and destroy, Most High is going to intervene. Esau moves as if there's no knowledge in the Most High. He really thinks that he can go tick for tack, okay, with the Most High, man, when it comes to creation, running existence. Okay? And he's even got, things set up to wage war against Yahushua, man. The devil really thinks that he's on that type of level, man. That's how delusional this man is. Okay? With the authority given to him by the Most High. Verse 12 says, behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world. They increase in riches. Okay? So we're in the age, where the ungodly, okay, has increased in this world. They've prospered in this world, in this age. Okay? That's why people look at people now. It's like, hell, what's the point of doing right when you can be wicked and win? You know, and especially of late, man, like I say with the internet, man, you see even just people that do podcast shows, well, they're more prone, all right, to sell out to get to that next level. Because it's like they get exposed, you know, to the prosperity, okay, that they've never seen before, man. Okay. And the qualification, the requirements to tap in their prosperity, man, is to be wicked. And that's why even when you go here, I believe that's that Micah Malachi. It might be, it might be Malachi. You know, and you look at Jake, you know, speaking of Jake, you know, you sell out Jake's, man, because you heathen and you're through anyway. You might well do what you do. All right. But you look at Jake, you know, and Jake is so willing, you know, to become, you know, to move without morals. Okay. But to have no integrity. You see, because they see the prosperity of Esau. So you go to Malachi 3 and 14, it says, you have said it is vain to serve the Most High. And what profit is it that we have kept his ordinance? And this is our people. Okay, because you know you serve the Lord, it doesn't come with the worldly perks. It doesn't come with instant wealth, instant popularity. Okay, you know the network, you know certain networks that you devils, okay, offer Jake. You see these deals and these packages, okay, that Esau offers. Serving the Lord doesn't come with that. See, we win forever on the back end. Okay, but our people, all right, have become short-sighted, and they look at, you know, the prosperity of the wicked, you know, and Jake envied that. Jake covered that, man. Okay, so you have said it is vain to serve the Most High, and what profit is it that we have kept his ordinance, and that we have walked mournfully before the Lord of hosts? And now we call the proud happy. Yeah, they that work wickedness are set up. Yeah, they that tempt the Most High are even delivered. Okay, and Jake, look at Esau prosperity, man, and Jake won't in. You know, and Jake dropped their morals, their integrity, and do what they gotta do, man, to get the crumbs of prosperity from Esau. Okay. You see, a lot of our people, as Esau is set up for failure, but 2/3 of our people, you know, a lot of our people, what do, man? They want their prosperity with Esau, man. So they're set up for failure as well. Okay, Jake is set up for failure as well. So let's go back here. You know, because Jake measured his success by what? By Edomite. Okay, if he can eat what Edomites eat at. Okay, if he can live what Edomites live at. Okay, if he can get position that only Edomites get. You know, that's how Jake measured their success, by comparing himself to Edomites. You know, and Jake had made themselves, and Jake had set themselves for failure with Esau, man. Though hand join the hand, they should not go unpunished. Okay, it says, "Verily, I have cleansed my heart in vain." This is on Psalm 73 and 13. It said, "Verily, I have cleansed my heart in vain, and washed my hands in innocency. You know, for all the day long have I been plagued and chastened every morning." So Asaph is complaining. He like, man, you know, so me following righteousness is like, because even Asaph, he's over in his spirit. He like, so following after righteousness, and I'm plagued and I'm chastened, and these, you know, these niggas is winning in wickedness. You see? So I say this world will push you to that. Like, what's the point? This world will make you go dark. You see, without Yahweh Shema Shah, without the Holy Spirit, man, this world will make you go dark. Because this is a society where you try to be outstanding and the world is getting over. It make you cold, man. That's why even in the scriptures, this wisdom teaches us to have subtlety and discernment in this world. Okay, not just be a open book, Mr. Do right now, man. You gotta have discernment, be observant in this world, man. Okay, because that's how a lot of people, turn dark. Those that try to do right, try to, really, be mindful and considerate of people. Like, people like that get devoured, man. You see, they just openly do that to everybody, man. And that's messed up. That's a jacked up society when someone that really wants to do right by everyone is a prey. They're preyed upon in this world, man. You see? So when you go into back into it, dealing with Asaph, he was like, shit, I'm doing what I'm doing for nothing. You see? It says, if I will say, verse 15, if I say I will speak thus, behold, I shall offend against the generation of thy children. Yeah, because you look at this time, you can tell Jake about the wickedness and how things are off, man. Jake don't want to hear that, man. You see, Jake just want to hear about his situation, man, how he can better his situation. Jake don't care about the earth being destroyed. Okay. Jake don't care about the society being satanic, the leadership being satanic and pedo. Jake don't care about that, man. Okay. Jake care about their current situation, man. You see? So it's like, damn, nobody want to hear about the complaints of the wicked. You see? Verse 16 says, when I thought to know this, it was too painful until I went into the sanctuary of the Most High. Then I understood therein. And one thing about, the ministry, we understand each other's complaints. You see, we have the same complaint about this devil, man. Okay. And that's why, the ministry, is like a release valve. That's why going to camp, is therapeutic. Doing these lessons is therapeutic, man, because it's like a release valve as we observe the world, especially as, we've been enlightened in righteousness, man. And you observe the world, and then you develop what this vexation, these complaints, man. Okay. And then we're able to get amongst each other, the sanctuary, and have the same complaints, man, and release, these complaints. And then we're able to pray, to our power, because see, praying to God and Jesus, we had to love everybody. We had to pray for Esau, pray for America. No, when you come into the true sanctuary, we're able to put those curses up, man. We're able to beg the Lord to end this kingdom, man, to end Esau, man. You see? So it's when we come into this ministry, the sanctuary, the body, the church, the understanding of the scripture, when we come into these things, then we understood their end. It says, surely thou didst set them in slippery places, thou casted them down into destruction. This devil is set up in slippery places, man. You see, for him to try to pull this off, for him to start this war, to try to do a global reset. Okay. It was all a setup, man. All right. But it's devil to fall. You see, it's technology, the potential, the devil, because he wants he's so ambitious to be the Most High, man, that he look looks at this technology with the potential to do that, man. That was the Lord setting them up for failure, man. Okay? It says, how are they brought into desolation as in a moment? They are utterly consumed with terrors, man. So it says it's going to be in the moment. You know? In the moment. Let's go here. What it says in Revelation 18. All right, this is Revelation 18. And 10. All right, it says, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying alas, and that's these other nations. After America destroyed, okay, through thermonuclear missiles and the chariots, man. Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. Okay, in one hour, in the moment. Okay, and the Lord allowed, okay, these are the devils and these other nations to tap into what? That hypersonic, okay, rocket technology, man. Okay, to go along with that that nuclear capability. Okay, the understanding of how to make nuclear, okay, warheads paired with these hypersonic rocket projectiles. Okay, which is going to fulfill prophecy, man. And the fact that Esau, you know, he mass produced that weapon, okay, and allowed the understanding of how to mass produce that weapon, okay. Esau set itself up for failure, man. You know, when the devil used that atomic bomb, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, okay, when he used those atomic bombs, well, he set a precedent, okay, for these nations to get the weapon, okay, for him. You see, when America did that, you see, they laid the groundwork for their own destruction, man. You see, so everything that the devil has done, okay, amounts to his own destruction, okay, his own downfall. So I'm reading on Psalm 73 and 19 said, how are they brought into desolation as in a moment? They are utterly consumed with terrors as a dream when one awaketh. So, O Lord, when thou awakest, thou shalt despise their image. Okay, thou shalt despise their image, man. And this image of the beast that this man is trying to establish, you know, he's trying to make the image eternal through technocracy, man, through technology. Okay, but the Lord is getting active with this devil. Okay, the Lord is getting active. He's awakened. You see, prophecy has awakened against this devil. Okay, and is beginning to work against what they're trying to establish, man. Okay, and it's going to, as the Lord said, they shall build, but he's going to throw down. Okay, so we're in the time of the Lord throwing down the image, man, and we have a victory over the image, man. We just waiting on our power. You know, so I'll leave it there. That's the main part I wanted to go into, you know, but Lord will, you brothers and you few sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shah by Hashem, Makakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elder GMS, rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessing, salutation, hopefully, shalom.